Good morning. Welcome to the second week of extended school year. So, in this week, we're going to learn all about frogs. When we were in school, do you remember when we read lots of stories about frogs and toads through our ARC literacy program? We learned the differences between what makes a frog and what makes a toad a toad. And do you remember which one of them have long back legs to help them hop far? Yep, a frog. And toads have short legs. Which one of them, a frog or a toad, has smooth, wet skin? You're right again, it's a frog. Toads have rough, bumpy skin. Let's see if you remember. Does a frog or a toad live in the water? Yes, again, a frog. Toads go in water, but they like to be in the mucky mud or under leaves and dirt, but they will go into the water every now and then. But my story is called Frogs Live on Logs. And here's my frog right up here in the corner. Melvin and Gilda Berger wrote this story. But guess what? There wasn't any illustrators because these are real pictures that they took with a camera. So these are real photographs of frogs living on logs or in other parts of the land. There he is on a stick. Frogs live on logs. Frogs live on logs. There he is right next to the water. Frogs live on land and on water. Over here. All frogs lay eggs in the water. Frogs live part on the land and part time in the water. They're called amphibians. Some frogs live mostly on land. Some frogs live mostly on water. Here's a fun fact. Frogs can be found almost in every country in the world. All across the world, there are frogs everywhere. If you live anywhere near water, you will find lots of frogs. Land frogs are good jumpers. Land frogs have big, strong back legs. Here's another fun fact. Big bullfrogs can jump as far as 6 feet. The longest jump of a frog is 11 feet. That's really, really long. Here's the little frog going in the water. Look how big and long his back legs are. He's going in head first in the water. Water frogs are good swimmers. Water frogs have skin between their toes. Here's their webbed feet. Fun fact, water frogs live in or near ponds and streams. No frogs live in the ocean. They need fresh water to live. And ocean has too much salt in it. Frogs live in trees. Tree frogs are good climbers. Tree frogs have sticky pads on their fingers and toes. The pads stick to the tree trunks as the frogs climb. Here he is just hanging on that twig branch. This one, he's climbing the tree. He kind of looks like the bark of the tree, doesn't he? He's all brown and bumpy. frogs live in ground. Ground frogs are good diggers. So here he is. Here's the one under the ground. You can barely see him. See his two eyes sticking out? Fun fact, some frogs dig into the ground with their heads. Some frogs dig into the ground with their back legs. Can you spot the frog? Did you find him? There he is. Here's his head. There's his body. He's against a tree. He's really hard to see. There's his eyes. Frogs live on logs. Has anyone here ever held a frog? I have. I like frogs. I like toads. I used to have some frogs in my classroom as class pets. But then I put them back into the water and back on land and let them go. Now, this week, we're going to read more stories about frogs, but our other stories are going to be fantasy stories. They're going to be all about the frog named Froggy. There are many stories about this frog. He goes to school, he plays t-ball, he has his first Valentine, he also likes to swim. He teaches people how he swims. But I also like learning about real frogs, where they live, what they eat. This book didn't mention what they eat. Does anybody know what frogs like to eat? Spaghetti? No. McDonald's? No, not McDonald's. You're right. Flies and bugs. They eat some plants, but most of all, they like to eat bugs. So, thank you for joining in on my story about frogs, where they live, where you can find them. And tomorrow, get ready for a silly story about Froggy. I'll see you then.